aging?
He doesn't, does he?
I just
Seriously, he doesn't age.
the trick is you got to look old young.
I love that. You
just-
gotta look old young. That's brilliant.
You know what's interesting about this movie is I know a lot of people that are dealing with this situation, and I really loved your character in this. What intrigued you about playing this? Because a lot of women are coming back and having to deal with this, and it's a very, very emotional thing to have to deal with.
Well, I think because I had never heard this story before, I think stories about female veterans are nearly absent from the culture. I'm not someone who's aware of any, and so when I read it, I was struck with the originality of the script, but also how well researched it felt, like the role, how authentic it felt to this experience. So that's why I wanted to be involved with it. And then I sat down with Claudia, and she shared with me all of the knowledge that she had taken from her documentary background and working with the military for so long. And I just knew that this was something that I wanted to be a part of.
Ron, dealing with the situation of having someone come back and all of a sudden the worlds have changed. There's been that void for a while. Talk about dealing with that, because your character is a little bit standoffish, I think.
Oh yeah.
But for all the right reasons, and it's hard to get that relationship coming back.
Yeah, he's also not, he's not like an ideal parent. I think he's a sketchy parent at best, and I think it was important it raises the stakes a little bit. It makes the choice harder because, Maggie not only has to choose between going back on tour and leaving her kid, but she's got to leave her kid with this guy, and I think that's kind of part of it too. And he doesn't actually really see very well. He's not the most open-minded guy. He doesn't really know what it is that she's off doing and doesn't take the time to find out about it. But I think as a whole, that's part of the way that we look a lot of our service members. We've got the part where we're supposed to, have the flag sticker on our car and buy them a drink and say thank you for your service. But we're not really encouraged too much to look behind the curtain at the nuts and bolts of the sacrifices that their families make. And I think part of maybe it's because it would be harder to recruit more people to do it. But it's a big part of the sacrifice.
What would you say to get the audience to come see Fort Bliss? Because it is an important movie to see. One, about relationships. Two, about the emotional toll it takes when people come back.
Yeah.
And just dealing with the whole situation in general.
Well, most movies are, it's a struggle between, good and bad. You have good guys fighting bad guys, or you have a character who's trying to decide, am I going to do the good thing or the bad thing? This one's really unique in that
Lives in
Maggie,
the gray.
yeah, Maggie has to decide between doing one really noble thing or another really noble thing, and what happens when those two things collide. Family and country. Which one of those do you give up for the other? That's a hard question.
It is. It's not just black and white, and I think that's what's so compelling about this choice that Maggie has to ultimately make. I think that's what compelled me to do the story, is to really understand the psychology of making a decision of leaving your family, knowing that you may never come back, and then the sacrifices and the toll that takes on your family has to take on, and feeling still devoted to your family. And I think that's the conflict in which makes it really compelling.
You guys have been working so much with stuff. It's good to see the portfolios of what you guys are doing, what you guys have accomplished. Well, haven't you have any time off? You've got so many projects coming up.
I do, yeah. I've been working really hard the last few years. And I don't necessarily intend to work that hard, but when I find projects that I really love, material, say, True Detective, for example, Fort Bliss, those things are hard to turn away from, because they're few and far between. So, you just try to make it work with your calendar.
Keep
Everyone
doing
on the
it.
same
Yeah.
page.
I like watching it. So keep doing it. That's all good
Well, the
stuff.
same thing with you too.
Mm.
I mean, you've been doing a lot of stuff. The first thing I think of when I think of Ron, I think of, oh, Kerry's got him. He's in good hands.
Right. Yeah, it's I think it seems like more and more the jobs get faster. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
A movie that we would have spent 3 months doing 10 years ago, now you're doing it in 25 days.
That's a very good point. You can actually do more in a year now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You work a little harder at it, but
Yeah.
it's good to keep in it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.